going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Untamed Outdoorsman YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing the native Watercraft Titan 12 buyer's review. So, as many of you guys saw, this is the boat I got brand new for 2022, and it's been featured on the channel a bunch of times. We did a couple build series with it. But yeah, we're just going to run through everything. Pros and cons list of what I like and don't like about the boat, maybe some minor snags I had run into, and then what we did for upgrades. So first, we're just going to start. This is the 2022 model, Native Titan 12. It is a monster boat, very, very wide. It's super long, not as long as Connor's Ascend, but this is probably the most stable boat I've ever been in. But for upgrades, so we're just going to start at the bow and I guess work our way backwards. Up the front, I believe you guys saw us install these. These are the Yak Power button lights. These are just my nav lights, so my red and my green. Inside here, we actually did some stuff that a lot of people don't usually do on kayaks, but we have my Noco Genius Gen 5. That is my battery charger. And for my battery, I just got a 20 amp hour lithium ion, just a small battery. And that is connected all to this Yak Power system. This is the head unit for it. And the buttons are actually over here on Connor's side. You saw us install that in a video as well. And basically what that does, that whole unit and that battery power my nav lights and this fish finder, which is the Lowrance HDS Carbon 9. I love this unit. I've had so much good luck with this on the water. I've never used a Lowrance product before this year, and I was thoroughly shocked with this performance of this unit. But for other upgrades, that's pretty much it, I think. Besides the main, I think this is the biggest upgrade you could do to one of these boats. This is the native sidekick. This makes transportation to and from the water, like to your truck, the easiest thing possible. I know with Connor's Ascend, it was difficult to find wheels that actually worked for him to get from his truck to the water. And a lot of times he'd have to drag it, which would, it ruins the bottom of the boat. Luckily on his, he's got those little skid pads, but this one doesn't have anything, and I'm not dragging it because it's got a rudder underneath. But these things are amazing. They just slide in and out super easy. They go up and down, and they lock in with these pins. And it is so simple. Probably the best money you could spend if you're going to buy a boat like this. I know Boondocks makes a landing gear for it, but the Native Sidekick, honestly, these are probably the best wheels I think I've found. The Boondocks ones are expensive too, but I really like these ones. And I might switch these wheels out coming this year for some that don't float, because it's just kind of a pain in the butt while you're in the water to try and get these put on so you can pull out. But yeah. So other than that, back here we did the Seaflow 8-inch deck plate. I'll tell you why in a little bit we did this, but this is a huge, huge necessity for this boat. And it's something I didn't think I'd need until we actually had an issue on the water. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, Connor actually got me this as a present, and I am forever thankful for that. But yeah, as a lot of you guys know, on this boat, it's a Propel drive, so you don't need your trolling motor up the front. You don't need a big external battery. And that's one of the things that really sold me on this boat, was that I wouldn't need to power so much stuff. I wouldn't have to have all that extra weight. And I really love this. It's almost like you're riding a bike, but you're getting exercise while you're fishing and doing what you love. And I think this is amazing. It's got easy forward and reverse. I mean, almost instantaneous. And then you got this handle on the side, which controls your rudder in the back. This allows you to do a full, complete circle. I mean, maybe not as tight of a circle as if you had a trolling motor, but I mean, this is pretty much perfect for what I'm trying to do. We're fishing a lot of decent sized ponds and lakes around here, and I don't feel I need a trolling motor for a boat like this. But yeah. So now we're going to go into the pros and cons list of this boat. I'll start off with my pros, and one of the biggest things on this boat is the size. I absolutely love having a boat that's super, super wide, super long. It just makes it so stable on the water. I mean, you could stand wherever you want on this boat and you know you're not going to flip it. It's planted in the water, and that's what I really, really like about it. Also with this boat, the hull thickness is one thing that I don't think a lot of people realize until they actually see it in person. The hull thickness on this boat has to be at least a half an inch thick. I mean, we have Connor's Ascend out there. When you saw we did the build series, the plastic on those hulls, they're a lot thinner, and I think that's maybe why you get some of the warping issues that he gets. But on this boat, you don't have to worry about that at all. I mean, you saw when we drilled some of the holes and we installed some of the stuff in this boat, it is thick, it is solid, and it's sturdy as it can go. Another thing for pro on this boat, like I said, is this Propel and this hand steering. If you're getting a generic fishing kayak, a lot of them you actually have to paddle. And paddling while trying to fish, that's such a pain in the butt. I mean, you always get caught in wind, or, you know, you get tossed around with the waves. This thing, all you have to do is reach down with one hand. You can still fish with this one, and you're doing all your movement here. And it makes it so much more simple to fish on the water. Probably not as simple as having like a handheld trolling motor, but I think this is actually probably the best way. Just in my opinion. Okay, so I think for one of my biggest pros of this boat, and probably one of the other biggest reasons that sold me, was the seat. This thing is super comfortable, and when you're sitting on this all day on the water, no issues at all with comfortability. Your back doesn't hurt, and the one great thing about this seat is you're actually raised up super high, so it makes it easier to just stand up whenever you want to. It gives you a better line of sight into the water too, especially when you get those clearer lakes. You want to be able to look down, see what you're fishing in, maybe see the fish under you. Makes it super easy for that, so I really like this seat. I had the Pelican Catch 120 before this, as did Connor, and the seats on those were good, but this is just like a whole nother level of seat and boat. And that's what we really wanted this year, because we're more serious than ever when it comes to fishing. All right, and I think for the final pro on this boat is actually the amount of upgradability you have and how easy it is to upgrade these boats. For example, like these side rails on this boat are super strong, super durable, and like I said, they're screwed into a really thick plastic, so you know they're not going to move around or anything like that. So when I decided to end up putting this fish finder on it, I was perfectly comfortable with running just a Yak Attack mount on here, mounting this fish finder to it, and I've had no issues ever since. Also, the sidekick is actually mounted to these in the back. And one of the biggest things, like I said, for upgradability on these boats is back here they actually give you a mounting spot. So if you wanted to put a micro anchor, or if you actually did want to mount a trolling motor, some people do mount it back here. But personally, I don't think I need it. Maybe the micro anchor eventually, but I just feel like at the point we're at right now, I haven't needed it while I was on the water. So I don't really see myself getting it soon, maybe eventually. But yeah. Now we'll talk about the cons of this boat. This boat, it is a very niche class of boats, I would say. Not many people have them, but the ones that do, I think they really enjoy them once they fix the couple minor issues that this boat has. Now, I'm not saying this is for every boat, but most of the videos I've seen and what I've dealt with firsthand, it actually kind of sucked in one sense, but it was good in another. It made me realize how good Native's support was for the issues that I found. And one of the biggest issues I think I found with this boat was actually the rudder gasket leaking, because this goes through the hull, attached directly to the rudder down here. And you can see this is what swings inside. And what they have is actually a foam gasket in there. Now, when we were on the water, me and Connor together, before we put this Seaflow deck plate in, I was getting water coming up through here, and it was actually running through into the factory deck plate. That's why we upgraded this, and I siliconed it real nice, because it got to a point while we were on the water, it filled up so much that my boat was actually starting to sink, and it was pulling me down, and I couldn't paddle. I had to get out on the shore, toss all the water out of it, and it was just a headache. I stopped the fishing day there. I didn't want to go any further until I fixed the issue. And that kind of sucks, because when you pay so much for a boat like this, you want it to be just get in, go, turnkey, do whatever you want. You don't want to have to worry about issues like that. Like I said, I'm not saying this is for every boat. This is just the experience I've had. And the way I came to fix it was actually, I called Native and they said they had found an issue and they were looking to correct it. And by correcting it, they sent me a second rudder gasket to install in here. And as for the deck plate, like I said, Connor got me this Seaflow deck plate. I've had no water come in after we installed this and after I installed that second Native rudder gasket in here. So as for the water coming in the back, no issues anymore. It was corrected. Native, like I said, has a great support team. When I reached out, they were able to help me find what I needed to fix that. And as for this deck plate here, I think maybe it's just because they don't use enough silicone in between these bolts when they install it. But I'm never worrying about that again because the lip inside of the Seaflow deck plate, it clamps to it. So I know I'll never get water in there again. Now, as for the front of the boat, the only con I have for the front of this boat is that when you're pedaling, water tends to come up around this lip here. And when you have this in the water, it just kicks up and it pulls up a little bit at your feet. It's not a big deal. It's only a little bit of water. Anybody can deal with it. If you had the scupper plugs out, you would have water in the front anyway, so it wouldn't even matter. But I'm just going to correct that. I'm going to get a little piece of weather stripping. I'm going to run it along the inside of this so no water kicks up anymore. And that'll be all set, done deal. I won't have to worry about that again. And as for the scupper plugs, I actually really like these. But one thing I found out is you actually have to push them in quite a ways so they really seal. You don't want to just push them flush. I found out if you just push them flush like this, water will actually get in. You want to push them in and sink them in so the water will actually stay completely out of it, which is just an easy fix. I just watched a YouTube video on it, but now I'm telling you guys about it just because I know I was kind of worried about that. The scupper plugs are supposed to seal, and they weren't sealing. It just pushed a little bit of water through. I mean, very, very minor. But, yeah, that's the easy fix for that. All in all, though, I'd say this is probably the best boat I have ever owned. And I think I can talk for a lot of people that have owned these or seen these. They are really like a masterpiece of a kayak. They're pretty much a John boat on the water. And besides those two minor issues that I had that did cost me a fishing day, it was worth it to fix those instead of getting rid of this because I absolutely love this boat. I love the stability. I love how much weight you can put on this thing and you don't even feel it. It's super, super easy to pedal through the water. You don't have any issues with maneuverability. I know there's more upgrades too. Like I plan on doing some more upgrades to the rear of this boat because Burley Pro sells a nice steering system. And in the back they have a Boondocks rudder I think you can buy for it. But yeah, I really love this boat. I wouldn't trade it for any boat on the market right now that I've currently seen. Maybe if they start releasing more stuff eventually in the years to come, maybe. But I've outfitted this boat perfectly to the way I like it. You might see some more minor upgrades from us, in the future. But as for right now, I really, really love it. There's so much storage space on this boat too. Under the seat, there's a huge amount of storage. I can fit a bunch of tackle trays. Right now, I just got some baits in there that I was using the last time we went out. And in here, there's so much space. There's so much room for activities. You can move all around. Even with this up, you can still stand up and have plenty of room. But yeah, this is the 2022 Native Titan 12 buyer's review. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Just give you a little bit of information on this boat itself if you're looking to buy one, or if you bought one and maybe think of something you might need to upgrade before you get it on the water so you don't have the same issues I did. That's probably a good recommendation back there. I think the gaskets are maybe $3 or $5 or something like that to fix, and that I will leave a link to that deck plate Connor bought me in the background. I think it was right around $20. So yeah, just cheap fixes. Even though the boat is about $3,400 brand new, it's worth it to get those things just so you don't have the hard time in the water like we did. But yeah, if you like this video, you want to see more videos like this, please like, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate all the support we've been getting on the builds and all our fishing content and unboxings and stuff like that. But we'll see you in the next video.